The current conflict between Israel, Lebanon, and Gaza is the latest chapter in a long and troubled history. This region has been a flashpoint for violence and unrest for many years, with each new conflict adding layers of complexity and pain. For decades, these actors have been locked in a cycle of violence and mistrust. Each side has its own narrative, its own grievances, and its own vision for the future, making resolution incredibly challenging. At the heart of the conflict lie complex issues of land, security, and identity. These are not just political disputes but deeply personal and emotional issues that affect the lives of millions. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping the gravity of the present situation. Without a deep understanding of the past, it is impossible to fully comprehend the stakes involved today. The conflict has its roots in the early 20th century, with competing claims to the same land. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 marked a significant turning point, leading to wars and displacement. Over the years, wars have been fought, agreements broken, and countless lives lost. Each conflict leaves scars that are not easily healed, perpetuating a cycle of violence and retribution. This history of violence continues to cast a long shadow over any attempts at peace. Despite numerous efforts at negotiation and reconciliation, the path to lasting peace remains elusive, overshadowed by a legacy of mistrust and suffering. In recent weeks, the conflict has taken a dangerous turn. A surge in violence marked by rocket attacks and military strikes has pushed the region to the brink. The fighting began with Hamas, the militant group that controls Gaza, launching rockets into Israel. Israel responded with airstrikes on Gaza, targeting what it claims are Hamas military installations. The exchange of fire has resulted in casualties on both sides, including innocent civilians. This escalation is a stark reminder of how quickly the situation can deteriorate. Adding another layer of complexity to the ongoing conflict is the involvement of Hezbollah, a powerful Iran-backed militant group based in Lebanon. Hezbollah has also launched rockets into Israel, further escalating the already tense situation. Hezbollah's involvement raises the stakes considerably. It has a long history of conflict with Israel, and its actions threaten to drag Lebanon deeper into the ongoing fighting. This development has heightened fears of a wider regional war. Section 4: Gaza, a humanitarian crisis. The conflict has had a devastating impact on the Gaza Strip, a densely populated Palestinian territory. Constant airstrikes have resulted in widespread destruction, leaving many without homes, electricity, and essential supplies. Hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties, and the humanitarian situation is dire. The conflict has exacerbated an already precarious situation in Gaza, where poverty and unemployment are rampant. The international community must act swiftly to provide humanitarian aid and alleviate the suffering of the people. Section 5: The world reacts. The international community has reacted with a mixture of condemnation and concern. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has expressed support for Israel's right to defend itself, but has also called for de-escalation. Other countries, including many in Europe, have urged restraint from both sides and called for a ceasefire. The conflict has also sparked protests around the world, with people demanding an end to the violence. Section 6: The path forward. Uncertain and fraught. The path forward remains uncertain and fraught with danger. The scars of conflict are visible everywhere, from the shattered buildings to the wary eyes of the soldiers on patrol. A lasting solution to the conflict seems elusive, as mistrust and animosity run deep. The streets are filled with voices demanding change, yet the walls are painted with messages of division. The involvement of multiple actors with different interests further complicates the situation. Each nation brings its own agenda, making the path to peace even more convoluted. However, one thing is clear: violence is not the answer. The cries for peace are growing louder, and the toll on civilians is a stark reminder of the need for a different approach. Only through dialogue and diplomacy can a lasting peace be achieved. The tentative handshakes and cautious smiles at diplomatic talks offer a glimmer of hope. The international community must work together to bring the parties to the negotiating table and find a way out of this cycle of violence. It is a collective responsibility to foster an environment where peace can flourish and the wounds of the past can begin to heal. Section 7: A plea for peace. The conflict in the Middle East is a tragedy for all involved. The ongoing violence has left countless families torn apart and communities in ruins. It is a stark reminder of the human cost of hatred and intolerance. Every day, innocent lives are lost, and the dreams of many are shattered. As the violence continues, it is essential to remember that behind the headlines are real people whose lives have been shattered. These are mothers, fathers, children, and friends who face unimaginable hardships. We must all do our part to promote peace and understanding. By coming together, we can amplify the voices calling for an end to the violence. Stay informed about the conflict, engage in respectful dialogue, and educate others about the complexities of the situation. Knowledge is a powerful tool in the fight for peace. Support organizations working to alleviate the suffering. Your contributions can make a significant difference in providing relief and hope to those affected. Let us work together to build a future where peace prevails. A future where every child can grow up in a world free from fear and conflict.